now, stop what you're doing, hit the subscribe button, and click the little bell. It'll alert you to every time I upload some madness.
All right. So I just dropped Mini Monster off at school, and I'm on my way to physical therapy, and I was talking to my friend yesterday about the book It by Stephen King, and I have been listening to the audiobook on Audible, and I absolutely love Stephen King's writing. I love how graphic he gets. But I found myself, I'm only on chapter 5, and I've already found myself changing allegiance. Like when I was a child, well, not a child, a teenager, and I watched it on television, because I think it was like a mini series or something before it became a blockbuster. I remember, like, I wanted them to kill Pennywise. I was rooting for the humans. And in the last 5 chapters, I'm rooting for Pennywise. I mean, obviously I know how the story ends, but so I loved how Stephen King did Georgie's death. The first chapter was fantastic. It was gruesome. You got to hear this relationship between Georgie and his brother. So it was really good. And the thing that stood out to me the most was the name of the music that the mother was playing on the piano when Georgie is killed. And the reason why it sticks with me is because it's repeated. The name of the song is repeated like 4 or 5 times, and now whenever I hear it, that's what I think about. I think about poor Georgie. So as the book goes on, chapter 2 describes when Pennywise, shows back up after like 20 years, and you're like, oh, this poor guy, because there's these, it's set, I want to say it's like set in the late 70s, early 80s, and right, that was, from what I understand, because I was just barely born in the early 80s, that's when society, the homosexual community started to make more of a presence in everyday society, and that's when all of the tension started. And Stephen King paints that very vividly. I mean, it's gruesome how vivid he paints this assault on this couple. And I was like, that was the first time that I was like, oh my gosh, it was kind of unsettling for me. And I think it's because for me, I was raised in a family that, like, there was no right, no wrong as far as sexual orientation. At least we never talked about it. And I was taught, human beings, we treat each other like human beings. So there really was I was not taught to hate other human beings. So hearing this gruesome, hate-filled encounter, for me, it was really, really intense, I guess you could say. And then he moves on, and he starts talking about the children as adults. So Georgie's brother is now an adult. He's married to an actress. They live in Europe, and they go through all of these other what, where are they now type of thing. And that is where my allegiance from the human beings starts to switch to Pennywise. And I'm like, God, I hope Pennywise wins, because these children, they go up against a demon clown that gruesomely disfigures and tortures and eats children. They go face to face with him. They beat him. They win. And then when they become adults, they turn into complete sissies. And I'm not talking about like, oh, I don't want to fly. I have a fear of flying because the plane might crash. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about full-fledged, whiny, crybaby. I mean, they don't have a bone in their spine. I don't know what happened. And one in particular spouse, she drives me insane. And I think it's Stanley's wife. Stanley's one of the kids, and I think it's his wife. She is just so needy and so whiny and so horrible that you literally are like, okay, please, Pennywise, come out of her kitchen sink and just eat her right now. There's 400 pounds of fresh meat sitting right there, whining and crying. And yeah, so it's his writing style. It's how he writes these characters, and he goes into such depth, and the way that it's just, oh, Stanley, don't leave. It's like, oh my God, somebody please shoot her. So, and then there were other things, and it was really interesting how watching the movies as a teenager or a young adult, I didn't really put two and two together. And now that I'm an adult, I'm not a young adult anymore, I'm just a regular adult. The language that is used is just so intense and just so like, but it sparks an emotion, and it's exactly what it's supposed to be. It's just, for me, it was just a little bit like, holy cow, I was just completely shocked. And I'm only on chapter 5, so I know that it's only gonna get better. So anyway, I had this conversation with my friend. I love the book. I love Stephen King. I love his writing style. I love everything about it. So this isn't a Stephen King did something wrong, because I don't think Stephen King could publish a book with the word butthole written or copied and pasted 100,000 times and it would still be a masterpiece. But yeah, so this is not that. This is just me saying, in the first 5 chapters, as a child, I was like, yeah, that clown is evil. And as an adult, I'm like, fuck these people. Clown, eat them. So anyway, I'm here, so I have to go inside and start working. But have a great day. Bye.
Take stuff from strangers.
Oh, well, I'm Pennywise the dancing clown. Pennywise? Yes, meet Georgie. Georgie, meet Pennywise. Now we're on strangers, are we?